Hey everyone, so this is I forgot what I was doing for a second. A quick tutorial on how to use the lecture mapping website that I am using this semester for the Medic 210 course. So if you go to Google and search MindMup, you can click on MindMup. And you don't have to make an account, you don't have to do anything, you can just click Get Started. You do have the option to sign up for MindMup Gold if you want to. It's not very expensive. I think it's like, I don't know, $10 or something, $25 for the year, $3 a month. So it's not super expensive, but you get to save your maps then all on this website. But you don't have to do that. So you can instead use just the regular MindMup, and I will show you how to do that in just a second. Alright, so back to the MindMup homepage. So in order to create a map, you just click Get Started. Pretty easy. And you can, when we're finished with the map, you can save it. If you're a free user, which most of you probably will be, you can create public maps, which means that your maps will be available to view by anybody in the public. You can save them there in a MindMup Cloud account for up to 6 months. Actually, you don't even have to have an account. You just create it and save it as a public map, and you'll have access to it for 6 months. Otherwise, you can, I believe, save it to a Google Drive. So we are going to click Create Map. And the first thing I like to do is give my map a title. So Chapter 2, Medic 210, Lecture. Put that in there. And then you're good to go. From there, you can start to put in, make your map. Put in nodes and make your map. So here's some cool things that you can do. You can make the map look the way that you want it to by using the view bar. And so straight lines and simple will give you kind of a line across with a bunch of lines coming down. I'm sorry, that's top down and standard, top down and simple. You have straight lines and simple kind of goes across. So we'll put some nodes in here and then I'll show you what those different views look like. So you have one root node that's already kind of in place there. I usually use this one, whatever it is, to be the chapter title. And I like to make it a little bit bigger, so I do that by clicking on it. And if you right click, you can edit the node. And node style, there we go. I make it pretty big. We'll make the color something a little bit lighter. That'll be easier to show up on the screen. And then we're good to go there. So what you want to do is whatever main idea you would like to come off of this will be a child node. And say we have 3 points that we want to come off of. Oh, sorry, my dog's barking. Okay, sorry, I paused it for a second because my dog was barking and you don't want to hear all that. So say you have 2 or 3 points that you want to come off of one root. You just add, you click on whatever root it is and add another child node to it and put those in there. So usually I will leave the chapter there and then I'll add another root node to start one section of the lecture, because usually our lectures have 3 or 4, sometimes up to 8 or 10 different lessons within the actual lecture themselves. So I'll start another root here and we'll call it Lesson 1, if I can type. I'm going to make it a little bit bigger because I'm going to increase the font size. and I'm going to move it over here. So we'll call it Lesson 1 or Learning Objective 1.1 or whatever you want to call it, or the title of whatever the thing is that we're talking about, whatever the topic is that we're discussing. So then you would click on that, and to make a child off of that, you would put Objective 1. If Objective 1 had a little bit more description or had some sub content that needed to come off of that, oops, you would put a child node off of that. Objective 1 subtopic. Oops. If there was more than one subtopic, Objective 1 subtopic number 2. So then for Lesson 1, we have another part that we need to discuss, and so that would be Objective 2. And maybe there are a couple of things that we need to discuss about Objective 2. So instead of typing subtopic, I'm just going to type subtopic 1 and subtopic 2. And you can even break this down further. So if subtopic 1 had a subtopic, you could make a subtopic 1 subtopic and break it down even further. So you can make these go as far as you want. And then when we get to the next part, you can start a new root. And I like to move them around. Oops, it disappears if you don't type in it right away. I like to move them around so that they kind of are in a coherent order. Let me make this guy a little bigger. Maybe I made the font a little too big. There we go. And I don't have any subtopics, so I'm just going to put child nodes in here. Objective 1, just put O1. And child node O2. And insert a child node O3. And insert a child node O4. We just got a lot of objectives or a lot of main points to talk about. And then this fifth one also happens to have something, a subtopic that we need to talk about, maybe a term definition or something. So here's the cool thing, you can change these if you want to. You can edit the node style, change the colors up if you want to make them prettier or to do whatever you want, or to make them easier to see if you need that. You can, kind of do whatever you want with those. You can make them bigger. You can make all the nodes bigger, which is nice. So that's kind of cool too. And when I'm going to show you a completed map in just a second and show you how it changes the view. But to give you an overview of how that works here, you can click View, Map Theme. So this is a standard. Productivity looks like this. So if that is more beneficial for you, then you could use Productivity View. The straight lines looks like that. So very similar to standard, but straight lines instead of curves. Simple, kind of some brackets, kind of looks like a Final Four bracket. And straight lines, simple. And top-down standard. That's what I was trying to explain earlier. It kind of looks like a tree going down. I don't remember if I deleted that video. I might not have explained that earlier. I might have started the video over. I can't remember. But it looks very much the main point up top and then a tree down to the roots. And then top-down simple is just that. And so when you get a lot of content in here, these can get kind of lengthy, and I'll show you what that looks like in just a second. So I'm going to go back over here, and I'm going to keep our standard view because I like that one actually. I think I'm going to go straight lines because I like nice clean straight lines. And once I've got everything in here, you can also align your fonts in here if you want to. You can adjust images. You can put pictures in here if you would like to, which is kind of nice. So let me see if I can. I'm going to put one lesson, one note in here. And I'm going to make the font bigger on that one and say for lesson 3, I want it to be, I want to put a picture in there. And we're going to do this guy because he looks like he's something scientific. And we're going to put that in there for the lesson so you can upload pictures. That's how I screenshotted it, the pictures, and put them in the lecture for chapter 1. And so you can do that. You can put pictures into the modules. You can also put pictures in random spots if you want to, that are out of the nodes. So let me show you. Hold on just a second. Just kidding, I totally lied to you. You can't put pictures in places that aren't in nodes, so you have to make a node and then put the picture in it. But you can, I think, align the picture. Oh no, there we go. Nope, maybe you can't do that either. I don't know. I'm still kind of learning too. You can, one thing you can do is you can edit the notes. So if you don't want to put a whole bunch of stuff like in each little thing, you can put a note over here. So say objective 1 subtopic is about red blood cells, which has nothing to do with this class. But say you're trying to keep your map itself simple, you can put in these nice little notes over here, and they will show up over here on the side, which is kind of cool. So you can kind of put those little notes in, and then it'll open up when you click on that. To hide that, you click Hide Sidebar, and then when you're looking at your map, you just open it up, and there they are. So it's kind of cool. So you don't have to type all that stuff in if you don't want your map to be super messy. You can type them in the notes section too. So you can make it bigger, you can make it smaller, you can recenter it, you can do lots of things. You can select whole groups of children if you would like to. You can select a whole entire subtree if you would like to do that for any reason. You can find different things. If you've got a pretty big map, you can search the map by looking for Find Node. You can attach a file. That's kind of cool. Another thing that you can do is to put a link in. So you can type the link in, and if you type in words and the link, it'll just put in the words, and then it opens the link there. But if you type in just the link, contracosta.edu. If you don't type in words and you type in just the link, it will only link out to, there's that. So you can do it either way. You can type in Google search and then the link, and it'll shorten it up to just the words, or you can type in the whole link and it'll link that in there too. So either way, it works. So I think that's it for this. So I'm going to pause this for just a second. I'm going to open up a map. Oh, before I do that, I'll show you to save. So you can download as a PDF, and it gives you the option to do that. So you can print it if you want to study from. You can use it as they can download it as an outline. You can download it as notes. It'll export the notes that you wrote to the, I believe, might want to double check. I'll check in just a second. But you can export them to Microsoft Word, and so you can do that. And you can also publish it, and that will allow people to save it or to see it, anybody to see it. You can rename it if you want to. You can do all kinds of stuff to it. So you can share it with emails for other people who are using this MindMup. And so if you and a friend are working on this map together for the class, then you guys can do half of it. One do half, the other do the other half, and then you guys can share. And so you guys can study together. So you can do that. And they are either allowed to view and edit or view only, so you can set permissions for that as well. So that's kind of cool. Anyway, yeah, it's kind of cool. Nice little free software. So pretty good stuff right here. All right, so hang on just a second. All right, so this is a completed map, and you can see there's lots of stuff in here. So I'm going to zoom in just a little bit, but before I do that, I wanted to show you what it looks like if you print the outline. Oops. You can include those, I had to cancel that. You can include those text notes if you want to. So if you put text notes into your notes, you can include those. So let me show you what that looks like. So it's basically all those bullet points that you made on that map and the notes. So this stuff here, these are all of the extra notes. These things are all the things that I have put over there in those extra notes, so that weren't on the actual map. So it might not be a bad idea if you are not using the gold membership, if you're just using the free one and you don't want to worry about trying to publish it and trying to find it later and save it and all that business. You can print this outline with the notes attached to it, but also you can print a PDF file of the actual map itself so that you can kind of follow along with the outline and the PDF of the map. So when you're printing the PDF of the map, you want to make sure that it's going to fit on the paper that whatever you have in your printer. And so I just make sure that's portrait because that's all the bigger paper I have in my printer. It's all the bigger paper most people have in their printers. Fit the map to it. And if you have a big map like this one, there's a thing that shows you how to print the big maps. Now, the bigger your map is, makes the print really small, the font really small on the map. And so, you know, there's kind of that setback that makes having bigger maps a little bit less convenient. You can, however, have the map printed over several pages by using the tiled printing, and that's where it prints like over 2 or 3 or 4 pages, and so there's information that you can find on how to do that there. So hang on just a second, let me go back. So if you were just going to print this regularly, then you would just export the map to a PDF and then you could print that, and that's pretty easy, self-explanatory. But just to give you an idea of what that looks like, once that's done, kind of looks like that. So then you just print that and follow it along with your notes over here, and you should be kind of good to go. So back to the map and how these different views look. So this is like I said, a pretty big map, and I'm going to zoom back out here for just a second and show you how these different things look. When you go to view, you can go to straight lines, and that gives you some straight lines there. So you can see these different nodes and how the straight lines work with those different nodes. And when you go to simple, see how that looks different? It's basically just the words without the actual boxes. It's just some lines separating. And then we go down to straight lines and simple. I don't really like that one. It's kind of ugly, I think. I don't know. Just it's kind of confusing to me. And then we go down to top-down standard. I do like this one. I like the trees. Pretty easy to follow, I think. We can go to open. Top-down simple. It's basically the trees without the boxes. It's just the words. That's nice and simple too. I think sometimes these boxes the words would be hard to kind of put into place if without the boxes. I kind of like the boxes. I think they keep things in place. They're good placeholders. But if you don't have a lot of words in there, it's not really a big deal. And then the last one is back to standard. So, you know, you can always use that one as well. All right, so I'm going to change this back to the one I had it in. Top-down standard. There we go. Now my life is back to normal with this map. And I think that's it. All right, well, hopefully this gives you kind of an idea on how to use this mapping software. And if you have any questions, let me know. And hopefully more of you guys will be able to use it a little bit easier come Friday. Thanks, guys.